Hey guys, what's up? SK Nova here. A little bit late making this video. Instead of making it last night, I'm making it today. So hopefully it doesn't hurt, but we're kind of wrapping up the last day with the last two factions. After that, we start repeating factions that we have done before. However, when I started this, I didn't make a video on the first two. I think the first two were Lizardmen and Night Revenant. And coming up for the next round, we're back to Night Revenant and who's the other guy? High Elf. Yeah, that's right. So High Elf and Night Revenant will be pretty soon, 6 hours from now. Night Revenant's actually one of the harder ones too, because there's not a ton of choices I'd say are great for this, and they're one of the smaller factions. But we will go over that after we do the Undead and the Bannerlord factions. So, like you can see here, I just kind of cleared up to stage 6. We will do these live. This is my team. I think pretty powerful, definitely more powerful than most. Instead of going total whale and putting in 2 bad elves, I threw in a Zelota. Also have Lich. Lich is also a great choice for this because of his turn meter decrease. But we'll go with this. Maybe Mashald finally has a use, which is nice. I can't remember how I got him early on. It was probably one of my first 6 or 7 legendaries, I think. The first one I was kind of disappointed to get, we'll say. And then they buffed him, and he was still kind of disappointing. Slightly better than before, but not great. However, I do have him level 60. He actually does have some masteries. I think he even has War Master. Don't know why I did that. Just for fun, I guess. Skartosis and Badel are both awesome. Most of the enemies in here won't put a ton of debuffs on you, so Skartosis' ability isn't super important for that, but he does have a pretty good AoE. And does do okay damage, and he is level 60. All of those things are good reasons to bring him for this. If you have a top tier legendary, or if you have a good legendary that's mostly geared up for this, you're probably going to be okay in most cases. But what's often going to happen is if you don't have 5 good champions, it seems that you kind of end up losing one because the boss picks on your weakest champion. So then you get stuck with only being able to 1-star it, which is too bad. Okay, so let's see this boss. He has, the fear debuff on his A1, plus he has, the revival allies, and then he falls asleep. He's got that one. And he's got the Hyria / Longbeard type ability, where he basically uses all of his allies to attack everybody. So you don't want to really kill all of his allies. This is similar to the other one the other day. You may want to kill one of them or CC them if possible. And yeah, the fear debuff is super annoying. So you can kind of semi-CC them with the provoke. That didn't happen. Always got to put the poisons up for extra damage. Now it's Skartosis. What should I use? So you can buff everybody. I can steal buffs. They don't have any buffs. I already got increased attack on them. Like removes all debuffs from allies. That won't do anything. So let's just do the attack everybody for now. Oop, get some AoE damage in there. Now Mashald has a pretty cool ability. I think this is super powerful, especially if you have a counterattack team where he can attack twice and heal himself. Doesn't really need lifesteal gear because of that. However, his other abilities are kind of lackluster. This ability should be places speed and increased crit rate on all champions and gives him an extra turn, and that would make him usable. That's all it would need. It wouldn't make him too overpowered. It would make him usable. He does have the heal reduction. However, this boss doesn't have a heal. He does revive, so if you have an ability that blocks revive, that would be useful. But this is, it's a pretty high damage ability. Let's see. Boop, 48k. He's not super geared, so I think that's okay. And Zelda here has a pretty cool sleep ability. Where's this one? Attacks on enemies and has a sleep buff. So let's see. However, with poison on, I think that wakes him up. But that's okay. So I'm going to do this on the boss. I don't think he can be taunted, but it's a little bit of decreased turn meter. Hit this, it wakes everybody up again. Don't necessarily want to kill everybody. That ability has some fear on it. That's okay, they got no buffs. Let's do this. Buff everybody back up. Give everybody more turn meter and give them the same buff again. Just keep focusing on the boss. That's too bad. I kind of want to see the boss's ability here, but I don't think we're going to get there. Okay, let's give you some buffs. And give you an extra turn. Boop. 33k for a single hit is pretty good and would heal him by about 10k, which is about a third to a quarter of his health. That's pretty good. So unfortunately my team is too powerful. We don't get to see any of the cool abilities. Too bad, boss. Maybe at stage 14. Oh, and a 2-star speed. That's pretty cool. So yeah. Unfortunately, it's not super exciting to see these. As we get higher up, though, I'm going to keep doing this. And I'm sure the later stages are going to be much harder, and I'm going to be dying a bunch, and it'll be exciting. Tonight, I will probably make another video as well, and we'll get to see the second stage. But I think we're still going to be limited in keys. Oh, look at this one. So we'll have, if we have 12 keys again, and the cost stays the same, that only puts us up to stage 13. We won't even get to see stage 14 today, not till the next reset of this faction. So that's unfortunate. So it might be the same old, not super exciting. All right, so Bannerlords, this is my worst faction in the game, and it's still not too bad. So I end up having to put a bunch of gear on them. I probably will ascend them just for the extra stats, make it a little bit more viable. Need to pull like a Septimus or a Baron or something. I might do a Void Shard video after this one. I'm not going to tie it to the same one because it makes the videos a bit long. But we got the Horde in, we got the Knight, what's his name, no, whatever this dude is. War Master, he has a cool Rosh Guard-like vulnerability. I put my Oathbound in Frost gear, but he's still kind of slow, so he doesn't end up going as much as he could. And Rowan is kind of a fast attacker type character. Not all of them are very strong, no heals. So if it gets difficult and I need to progress with Bannerlords, may have to look at switching their gear into Lifesteal. Because the Bannerlords, I don't really have a good healer. Raglan would be a good choice if you so had her. All of his abilities are single hit, but he hits hard. Like 58k is great. So Rowan has attack with a heal reduction 3 times at random, and attack one enemy 4 times. So let's just do this one. Boop. And this dude has the attack one. He has an AoE. I was going to save that for next round just because. And he has a block damage buff. Take that, Ifrit. Oh, Ifrit is too strong. Oathbound here. So he has freeze type attacks. So I also put freeze gear on him, just to stick with the same MO there. And Horden is not my slowest. Pretty strong. Oh, I didn't even kill him. Terrible, Horden. You're fired. Okay. Let's just put on auto. This is only stage 6. What am I doing? You can see they're quite a bit weaker than most of my other teams, but still enough to clear most of this. The problem is none of them really have good AoEs. None of the Bannerlord factions seem to have really good AoEs. The Baron has a nice AoE if you can overkill enemies, which on most of these stages you probably can. But all in all, this whole faction is sort of tough to use because of the lack of AoEs and probably the lack of a lot of really good healers. So let's see how we're going to do on stage 7. This might be my first challenging stage, so I won't auto it. And if you lose, you basically just leave battle and you don't end up losing your crypt keys. I do want to 3-star this because then I will be able to get another ancient shard to hold on to until the next double ancient shard opening, whatever that is. Definitely, because of the couple of void packs that I bought, I finished the summoning event. That was not a problem, so I don't really need to use any more shards at the moment. And I definitely would like to save as many shards as I can for double chance opportunity type events as we have going on ending today. Okay, take off the auto. Let's see this boss's abilities. Attacks on enemies has a fear. No. So the more buffs he has, the higher chance of placing fear. And I don't really have any debuff removal, so the more he goes, the more buffs you'll get. Oh, a buff stealer. Oh. And he transfers all his debuffs. Well, it's a good thing I don't have a lot of debuffs to put on him. Oh man, that is a very complicated ability. But basically, it swaps all of the debuffs and puts all the debuffs you put on the boss onto all of your characters, by the sounds of it. That's pretty bad. Exchange. Oh man, this guy is complicated. Exchange his HP with a target enemy. I think it's a 12 turn cooldown, but still. So you're going to get him low, and then he's basically going to end up killing one of your characters. So if you can't kill him or have turn meter decreased like my team does not, you probably don't want to get him too low before using that ability. It sounds like in this case we do want to take out these little dudes, so let's pick off his minions, because he has no minion revive in this case. I'll take off this guy first, maybe. Okay, well, this Horde gets a kill and an extra turn and another kill. Wow. So which ability was that? That was the debuff spread. Well, that was a good waste of an ability because no one had any debuffs on them. Now this guy does have some, but the boss does not. Because of the provoke. Let's see. Oop. Okay. There we go. Now onto the boss. So what can we do here? I don't think we're going to stun the boss, but we can put some poisons up. Just to maybe see, since the debuff spread is down, I think that would be okay. Weak hits. What do we got here? Attack an enemy 3 times and decrease attack. That's beautiful. Use it. Oh, and turn meter decrease. Oh, Oathbound. I forgot you could do that. There you go. Get Oathbound. He's actually decent. Oh, some leech. That's the only heal I'll get. Let's put the leech buff up. No. Why not? Heal reduction. Doesn't heal. Chance of stun. Yeah, I don't think you can stun, because he's a boss. Can't really stun him. Can you block buffs? Oh, you can. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I can do that already. He already has a block buffs. So, there you go. I didn't know you could put block buffs on him. I don't know if that would prevent him from transferring buffs. That debuff part transferred to you, which would be pretty bad. He's already used his exchange health thing. Use that early. So there you go. Don't do too much damage early. That's a little, that's tricky. That's interesting. It's good to know that ability. Alright. Well, now I got the leech up. Might be able to heal the whole 721. What's this one again? A lot of cooldown skills. Ooh. Yeah. The damage is horrible. So yeah, so I can't see myself getting too far with this team in Faction Wars. They're just not overly strong. Horde needs to be able to use this ability and then still attack. That'll just make him so much better, but having them separate, not very exciting. Oh man, I can use this. Look at that. Perfect timing on the block damage. Oh, but he did the debuff spread. Pretty cool. Now he's going to leech off of me. Put the decrease attack back on you. That's better. Better decrease attack. Well, it looks like I will survive this, but I'm not doing a ton of damage to him. It's all up to you, Rowan. And you did it. And we get a 3-star. And that means we get to get an Ancient Shard. Alright. Whoop. Ancient Shard. Cool. So, tomorrow will be Knight, Revenant, and High Elf. I'll just go over the factions really quickly because that's what I've been doing on these videos. High Elf should be not easy for people, but you have a lot more choice. Pretty much all the legendaries are really good, except for the new one, Yannicka. Even Elenarl is pretty good. Like her poison, consume, and explode, or whatever you want to call it, probably works on these bosses. Just doesn't work on a clan boss. Shirmani has crazy freezing AoE, which can be fantastic to CC the minions. As long as it's got a turn meter down, which is a big plus. Does work on the boss, so very, very useful. Railguard's got defense down, plus a crazy A3, which he never uses on auto, but he can use if you manual him for the boss, so that's good. At those crazy AoE, Bellinor debuffs, pretty decent damage. Arbiter's got a revive, she's got a turn meter buff and an attack buff. She's got debuff removal, so she's got quite a bit. Definitely worth having. Railguard has an enemy max HP ability, something like the Cold Heart. Probably won't do a ton on this boss because this boss doesn't have a ton of health, but still good nonetheless. Plus he has pretty good other kit, just like Tayrel. Like you can use both of them here. Very good. You got a decent choice of healers. You got Thanasil. He's a good healer. Luthia here has, I think she has a freeze. Yeah, she has a freeze ability. She has a poison ability. She has a decreased speed debuff, so also a good choice. Burgess is kind of meh, but just because his abilities don't really add a lot to the team. I mean, he's kind of like a supporting defensive character that cares about himself. Or I guess he can do it to one other ally, but instead of like all allies, like some of these buffs should be all allies, and then he'd actually be pretty usable. But because places all this stuff on a target ally, and just doesn't make it that good. Right? Like, how often do you ever want to just protect one ally? Like, maybe in Faction Wars when you have one weak person, sure. Marksman, definitely usable. He's got some poison meter stuff, plus turn meter down. The High Elf whole MO seems to be poisons and turn meter manipulation stuff. So, a lot of people with turn meter boosting stuff, some people with turn meter decreasing stuff, a lot of speed buffs, and a bunch of characters have poisons. All of which are pretty good. Bunch of AoE, bunch of multi-hitters. All good. You know, Apothecary is really solid. Same thing. He's got turn meter boost. He's got heal. Elaine's got great AoE damage. Maybe a little bit squishy, but that's okay. Iria with a multi-person attack, just like the boss had there. So lots of good choices. You probably don't necessarily need to dip into too many rares, but if you do, Apothecary is more like an epic than a rare, so use him. The rest of them are kind of meh, except for Hyria could be good if you have a bunch of other, you have good legendaries, and you need to use her too. Sure, she could be good. And Elaine, if you use your starting character, or if you picked her up along the way, not a terrible choice. So all in all, High Elves, I think, pretty easy for most people. Night Revenant, on the other hand, not so easy. The top legendary for this kind of stuff is probably Tomb Lord, maybe Hegemon 2, because I guess block debuffs does work. Don't really care about going first in these longer battles. He does have a decreased speed debuff, which is always nice to have, and decreased attack debuff, so those are two good debuffs to have. If you have any of these legendaries, you probably will bring them. I definitely will be bringing Soulless, even though he's not fantastic. Bistofist or Bistofist, however you say his name, does have the block cooldown stuff, and that seems to be what he's really focused on. He does have decreased defense, and he's a legendary with very high attack, so yeah, I mean, he can bring the damage if you so have him. No reason not to bring any of your legendaries to this. The epics is where this is kind of lacking. You have two really good epics, both of which I don't have, both of which I've been pulling voids trying to get and have not succeeded in that. Skullcrown is probably your best choice for this, mostly because of both of her abilities are AoE. She's a fantastic hero all around. She revives. You're not going to use her speed ability, but she can dish out a ton of damage and has a weaken debuff. So very, very good choice. Nisha also AoE damage and a heal. So she's one of the few healers in the Night Revenant. Might as well bring her. Well, Doom Priest is actually a very solid healer. Basically, it's passive, she heals every time. You build her for speed so she can get multiple turns. She has a little bit of a buff. She buffs the force with speed, I think. So Aura is kind of meh. And this is kind of meh, because it's random and small version of it. But still good. Like her passive heal, the fact that she's going to be healing every turn plus doing damage, makes her pretty good. So Doom Priest is pretty much locked up. If you don't have her, I don't know who you bring for healer. There's not really anybody. Except for maybe Sanisha, who has the single target one, I think, and the HP equalizer ability. For rares, also sort of lacking, in my opinion. Executioner at least is tanky enough and you can hold his own as a rare. The rest of them, lots of characters are very individual. They have abilities that focus on themselves. where they have only one enemy attack abilities, which isn't terrible for the boss. It just makes farming slow, kind of like the Bannerlords. Like they're similar in that sense. Like this guy can be used because he does have turn meter decrease, which is good. So you just have to pick the ones that you're with the abilities that you're missing. Like first off, with turn meter decrease is probably your go-to. Some CC is good, but sleep is not. There's a bunch of characters with turn meter reduction, so it's not hard to choose them. Like I said, the only thing that's kind of lacking is the healing. So, like my team would have been Solus, Zanisha, Doom Priest, and I can't remember who else I brought. I think I brought Executioner and somebody at random. One of these guys. I don't even know. It's also one of my worst factions. So I have to figure out who else to bring on this. I've been trying to pull Voids to try to get this. So wait for my next video. We're going to pull some Void Shards and get a Skull Crown, hopefully. Or a Hegemon. Either one will be okay. Probably prefer it because then Arena is going to become a joke. But more than it currently is, where it's super easy. But Skull Crown, definitely one of my top of my list for characters that I want. So that is Faction Wars. Day 5.5 or 6 rounds out all of the factions. How did we do? I think for me personally, Knight Revenant was one of the harder ones. So I had one character that died. Orc I definitely could have finished perfectly. And Barbarian also could have finished, just kind of screwed up partway through. Lizardman is a challenge for people. Knight Revenant, Skinwalker, like lots of the smaller factions are definitely going to be a bit challenging. But as we progress, hopefully, this will become more interesting. There's going to be more characters needed, and Faction Wars is still pretty fun. Hope you guys liked that video. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.